Welcome to The Pulse with Peter B. I'm your host, Peter Biancamano, and this is your weekly one-stop shop for sports picks, politics and government chatter, and even some neighborhood restaurant reviews. And why don't we begin with our Picks with Peter B segment, where we're joined live in studio by Mr. Eric Cruz and Devin Inholson. Gentlemen, how are you today?
Doing very well.
Very well. I like that. So why don't we start out? I'm going to give you a few seconds to talk about last week, and it was a little bit of a tumultuous week for you.
Yeah. The kicking wasn't too good. I think that's what kind of did us in, Eric. Right?
I mean, the teams, they blame their kickers, so we could blame the kickers too. So we have an excuse.
I like that. Justin Tucker and, of course, Brett Maher.
What was he, 224 for 224 before that?
That's exactly what he was, yeah.
Yikes.
Well, look, you're looking for redemption this week.
Yes, we are.
So why don't we hop in right in our first game here.
Okay.
And threes are wild. We have those Seattle Seahawks coming off a bye week, the 3-3 Seattle Seahawks, going up to Detroit to face the 3-3 Detroit Lions. And again, both of these teams are very mediocre, like most of the NFL is this year, I feel like. Eric, why don't we start with you? Analysis and pick, buddy.
Well, for me, I think that this game is real. It's going to be real close. You have two teams that are pretty much equal offensively and defensively. If you look at the stats, they're pretty much right around each other. But for me, this game is going to come down to the playmaker for the Seattle Seahawks, and that's Russell Wilson. Right. And, you know, they over the weeks, they've found a nice little rhythm in their running game. They've gotten Chris Carson going. And, you know, the Detroit Lions went out and they made a trade, and they got Snacks Harrison from the Giants, meaning that they have to shore up that defensive run game. So, for me, the Seattle Seahawks traveling to Detroit, they're not the best on the road. I think they get the job done with Russell Wilson, get the running game going. I'm going to take Seattle.
Certainly a big addition because coming into the game, 30th ranked defense against the run, the Lions are. And right now, good for the Seahawks. They've developed, they seem to have an identity. You know, they wanted to come into this season running the ball, and they are running the ball. And believe it or not, I want to talk defensively about them. One of two teams in the NFL to have more interceptions than pass touchdowns given up. The Cleveland Browns are another team to do so. So both teams, to me, are very under the radar, are very one of those underrated teams that I feel that could make some noise. But I like the Lions in this game because I think that the fact that they're running the ball 1.5 yards per carry more than they were last year, 11th overall, compared to 32nd overall, makes them a more balanced team. But don't disrespect the Legion of Boom what it used to be because fifth in points, sixth in total yards, and third in pass yards against. Pretty good numbers against with the guys that they don't have. But I like the Lions to open up the game with some play action and get the
I completely
get the W.
So in our second game, it's an interesting matchup because we have the Green Bay Packers coming off a bye week,
right? And
they're going over to Los Angeles to, of course, face the last undefeated team in the NFL this year. But I don't care what the records are. When you have Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback, you have a chance. Eric, am I right or wrong?
Absolutely, and you know what? That's why I'm going to pick the Green Bay Packers because of Aaron Rodgers. And coming off of a bye week, he's getting another week of treatment, getting a little bit more healthier with that knee. But for me, I think the key to the game is going to be how Green Bay handles first and second down. I think if they can get the ball on the ground and get 2-3 yards at a pop, first and second down, it not only opens up play action, but it's going to allow Aaron Rodgers to make some plays down the middle of the field and deep. It's going to take a little bit of a special game from him just because the Rams are just that good. They're built like the best team in the NFL.
Absolutely.
And they'll be without Aqib Talib. You know, obviously everybody likes the Rams, but I'm going to go with Green Bay in an upset in LA.
Well, that momentum, if he can have any momentum from the previous game, when that last drive against the Niners was magical. For those throws that he was making on the sideline was amazing. But I don't know why the Packers don't commit to the run. They're top 5 in yards per rush. Absolutely. They don't want to run the ball as much as they can. But when you have Rodgers as your quarterback, I can understand why. Defensively, they're not a slouch, 11th in yards against. But for me, the Rams, you know how good they are, 4th in points against. You know the weapons they have, probably the best route-running receivers that they have in the league. We know what they can do offensively. But for me, when I'm looking at, in the second quarter, they're tied for second in points. Third, they're number 1 in points. And when they have the ball, they don't give up the ball in the fourth quarter, time of possession-wise. They're second overall. I like they get a lead, and they pound it away, and they never give the ball up. So I like them to win this game.
And for the Packers, I just think it can be, like you said, I don't think the Packers can afford to go down early in the game because what the Rams do is they milk the clock. But I also don't think that they can afford for it to be a shootout.
I agree.
So I think this is
going
to be a good game.
I put your backs against the brick wall with the Kansas City Chiefs, and you guys hit the nail on the head with that one when you said, nah, they're not going undefeated, and they're not, obviously. But now, Rams win Sunday, 8-0, half the season is over. What do you guys think?
certainly think they're the best team in the league, and I don't think
But
I don't see
they
why
are.
they can't. But there's always that late game, week 16. It's like,
Right.
oh, we're not going to play anybody and wind up losing.
Exactly.
You know, I don't know.
Well, why don't we,
It's
why don't we
hard to
get into
win
our
the
final
NFL.
game while we have some time left here? And it's certainly a monster matchup.
Yeah, big
Sunday
time.
Night Football.
Big
You
time.
got those 5-1 New Orleans Saints going up to Minnesota. And, people like to talk about, New Orleans, they can't really win on the road. They're winning everywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
Drew Brees is monstrous just here. Drew Brees.
Yes, he is.
Eric, what do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, you just hit the nail on the coffin right there.
Yeah.
The Saints have done exactly that this season. They went to MetLife, they beat a tough Giants team, even though they're 1-5, but they're tough at home. And then they go to Baltimore and they beat a playoff team, what I believe is a playoff team in Baltimore, with the number one defense in the NFL. I really just like what the Saints are doing. They're proving that they're a mentally tough football team. They could get on the road and they can play in the elements. And obviously, it's only going to get worse with the weather. But for me, in this game, you're going to have to watch the matchup between Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, and the Minnesota Vikings secondary. They give up a lot of plays down the field, and that's what the Saints do. I do see Mark Ingram having a big game in here.
Yeah,
Traveling, going to Minnesota, it is a dome. I think the Saints will be a little bit more comfortable than being outside in the elements. I'm going to go with the Saints in this game against the Vikings.
Well, you talk about the big plays they give up. 30th in the league, 20-plus yard pass plays. So they give up a lot through the air. They're not as superior as they were last year when they were first overall in points. But for me, I like that to me the Vikings defensively, yeah, they're not the best, but third down percentage, they're number one overall. They've only given up 18 first downs on the year when it comes down to third down. Third down conversions, 18 third down, not only 18 first downs. No.
Very interesting stuff.
I'm just saying,
Yeah,
and the Saints are very, when they went last week against the Ravens, they were able to convert. That's the thing with them. They're a well-oiled machine, but Kirk Cousins, to me, is X factor. They have not faced an offense like this. I mean, Tampa Bay came in and beat the Saints. They, caught them early in the season. Falcons did a number on them, but I like for me, it started when the Vikings beat the Eagles in Philly, and then they got some good inferior opponents in the Arizona Cardinals and then the Jets. They won 3 in a row. I like them flying high. I thought they were going to win 13 games coming through the season. Don't lose this one, and then, that's not going to happen. But I like where they are. I think the Vikings are going to win this game.
Look at that. We have a disagreement on every game from
Thank
the Sports
God.
Insiders, right? I mean, that's exactly what we're looking for.
Yeah.
Well, that's Eric Cruz. That's Devin Inholson. There are Sports Insiders every week here on the Pulse of Peter B. And they will be here live next Saturday, November the 3rd at 11 a.m. for our first live show, breaking down the 3 biggest matchups on the NFL schedule. Folks, don't forget, please remember to like our Facebook page. Type that search, the Pulse of Peter B, and like us, follow us. We'll respond to you and have a great time. All right, we'll be right back with our Politics with Peter B segment as Mr. Josh Sotomayor Einstein joins us again.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Good Friend Self-Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self-Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Rama Jewelers, located in the Lyndhurst Shopping Center at 413 Valley Brook Avenue, Lyndhurst. Come for all your jeweler needs at Rama Jewelers, where you will find a fine selection of necklaces, earrings, rings, and bracelets. Choose from one of our complete sets, our many signature items, or find the perfect engagement ring. Come on down. That's Rama Jewelers at 413 Valley Brook Ave, Lyndhurst. Call 201-939-5784 or visit us online today.
Welcome back to the Pulse with Peter B. I'm your host, Peter Biancamano, and welcome to the Politics with Peter B segment. And we're joined live in studio by our resident political analyst, and that is Mr. Josh Sotomayor Einstein. Josh, how are you today?
It's good to be here, as always.
It's good to have you here, and I like the jacket today.
Thank you.
So let's talk about an issue here, and I teased this going out of our pick segments. It's an issue that's always controversial, and people seem to have strong opinions on, and that's developments. Whether that's development in Hoboken, whether that's development in Hudson County, what have you. If you go up to Hoboken and Hudson County, you see construction going on everywhere. Buildings are going up everywhere. And politicians love to talk about sensible developments. Is that what's really happening? Are these tall buildings sensible?
Well, politicians always like to take a sort of amorphous, nondescript boogeyman and blame, their constituents' problems on that particular non-existent straw man. But when you're talking about development, when you're talking about new buildings going up, and you're talking about new residences, and you're talking about new jobs, because there's businesses, whether it's a craft shop or it's old school Hudson County where it's more industrial, or it's a bar or restaurant, you're talking about more jobs for people, you're talking about families that are getting fed, you're talking about families that have a new place to live, that have a new eatery down their block, you're talking about good quality of life improvements, and that's really what development means. It's not this boogeyman that a lot of people buy into that doesn't make any sense.
But what's the negative? I mean, we talk about infrastructure a lot because that really goes hand in hand with development. And we've seen in Hoboken the massive water main breaks that we've had this past summer into the fall. We've seen in Jersey City that there's been a problem with public transportation in terms of overpopulation. I mean, is development to blame? I mean, once you're developing as much as you're developing, should you be upgrading infrastructure as well?
So you're mentioning terms, and you were talking about overdevelopment, and then you also mentioned overpopulation. And it's very important to use specific terms when we're talking about different issues. It helps us figure out how we want to handle it. Otherwise, you're just bloviating and blowing smoke up somebody's tush, right? And when politicians do that, they're blowing
But
smoke
usually
up
with
the
overdevelopment
tush
comes
of
overpopulation, correct?
No, because if we actually look at actual history, instead of things that sound nice, what we see is that in the past, Hoboken in particular actually had a higher population than it does right now. And no one would say that in the 1920s, 1930s, when Hoboken's population was 70,000 people, that it was overpopulated or overdeveloped. It's just, you can't use these completely subjective terms that change with the direction of the wind to try to figure out what's the best way for the town or for Hudson County to develop. And the best way for any place to develop is someplace that gives people a good quality of life, that increases their chance of finding a residence, being able to buy a home if that's something that they choose to do, that adds value by enriching their lives, either with good food that I'm sure we'll hear about in the next segment.
Very good.
Or by
I like your promo.
Or by employment. And when we say development is bad and there's too much of it and it's overdevelopment, but we fail to define these terms, what we're really saying is we want economic stagnation. We want to limit housing to those who are, in the top 10% or the top 1%, because that's what these policies do. When you have towns that adopt these ridiculous zoning laws that say, you can't build more on your backyard for
But I'm going to interrupt you.
Hold on. You can't build more on your backyard for your residential space. You know what that means? That means the cost per square foot of all residences is going to go up.
Right,
That means everybody's rent for new construction
But hold on a second. You
goes
spoke
up.
about quality of life, and you said that development can't be to blame. Tell that to the person who has to be shoved into a PATH train every day trying to get to work. Tell that to a person who gets home and they don't have any water because there's another water main break. It's got to go hand in hand,
You mean the
correct?
person that chose to move to Hoboken or chose to continue to live in Hoboken knowing that it's a popular place? If it wasn't a popular place and we didn't have mass transit nearby to begin with, you wouldn't have all these people there. So I don't think people are this mass of these self-centered idiots that don't realize the reason that they moved to town is the same reason that tons of other people that they're smushed up with in the train also moved to town. And when we talk about the infrastructure issues, obviously it's really important that the city invests in infrastructure, and they are all guilty of not doing so. But when we look at how infrastructure relates to development, what we see is, even before Hoboken hit its boom, there were still water main breaks, and that's because a ton of the system is ancient and made of wood or pipes that are now paper thin, and when they do a patch job, they don't replace it. And the city hasn't invested, and that's going back decades. That's going back before I lived in Hoboken. The city has failed to invest in its infrastructure.
And I understand it's a choice. I completely understand it. But I also believe that it's an obligation for city government to provide essential services to their communities. And
what are these essential services?
Well, essential services could be, possibly putting more trains in Jersey City, which I know they took trains away from Hoboken and added it to Jersey City. I know, to upgrade the water mains like we've seen in Hoboken. But let's move on to something here. We hear a lot about these pilots, of course, which is payment in lieu of taxes. And there are really 3 instances in Hoboken that come to mind, Hoboken specifically. One of them is 2 of Larry Bijot's properties. One of them was the Parking Garden, which is in Uptown, which there was a pilot given so he can create space for a local charter school. Another one was his massive building that he's building towards the back of town. I think it's 8th and Jackson or something like that. It pretty much is 8th and Jackson.
Behind the Monroe Center?
But behind the Monroe Center, correct, where they took part of the parking lots. And he's giving a 1-acre park of land for that. And then we just had the Hilton Hotel where they're giving $4.85 million back to the city. Are all of these, I guess, these things that the city is getting worth it? Really quickly, because we're running out of time.
So overall, anytime the community gets amenities, I think it's a positive, but we also have to look at the fact that the zoning structure, what they're getting for the investment that they're giving in is indicative of the fact that big developers can get a special deal, whereas the little guy that owns a building that has 8 apartments gets screwed by the city.
Okay, and affordable housing. We haven't really touched upon affordable housing. There is a state law that's in place where if a developer wants to build, he can get a certain amount of funding for the building that he's building, but a certain amount has to be affordable housing. I think it's like 30% or something like that. Do you think that that's a good thing and more developers should be doing this? Or do you think that the state should probably increase that to like 40 or 50% or something, really quickly?
So when we look at how the state defines what affordable housing is, or the fact that it does define, we also have to remember the fact that government once also said what a citizen was and said, certain people weren't citizens or certain people didn't have franchise rights. So just because the government says XYZ doesn't actually mean it's XYZ. Right. Affordability is determined by the market and what people are able to pay. And when you subsidize a certain group of people, the people that fall just above that, let's say the people, if affordability
I'm going to stop you because we're out of time. So we're going to be right back with My Rana and our Places with Peter B segment.
Introducing the MyJCMC app, powered by Practice Unite. The free MyJCMC app puts the power of healthcare at your fingertips. Go to the concierge for access to referrals, scheduling, and appointments, see emergency room wait times, and get directions to Jersey City Medical Center health locations. Read the latest JCMC news through their social media feed, find a doctor, and more. The MyJCMC app. We belong to you.
The Jersey City Medical Center, you know it for its award-winning life-saving ambulance service. It's also your health hub, with health and wellness locations staffed with certified professionals all through Hudson County. The Jersey City Medical Center, here to help you with your healthy, here when you need us the most. The Jersey City Medical Center. Visit us on the net to learn more. Jersey City Medical Center, Robert Wood Johnson, Barnabas Health Facility. Let's be healthy together.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers the quality of life you deserve in 10 high-rise rental towers with amenities such as the on-site Newport Path subway, light rail and ferry service, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Sears, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams Supermarket is just outside your front door. A health and fitness club, spa, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. NewportNJ.com. Enjoy the New York skyline from Newport Town Square. Manhattan is just 1 path stop away or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Want to visit Newport? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. Go to newportng.com for details. Newport has luxurious towers, great restaurants, shopping, New York skyline views, schools, playgrounds, a marina and yacht club, gym, spa, fine wine, fine living. It's incredible. It's you. newportnj.com. Newport, live like you want.
Pen and Pencil Properties, Jersey City. Shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces that address your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at penandpencilproperties.com. Pen and Pencil Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Welcome back to the Pulse with Peter B. I'm Peter Biancamano, and welcome to our Places with Peter B segment. And I just want to apologize to our audience. We had to cut our Politics with Peter B segment a little short. Josh can go on and on and on, but he was trying to make a valid point, I promise you. And I promise that next week we will pick up on affordable housing. But we are joined in our Places with Peter B segment by the lovely Mai Rana again of mygoodies.com. Mai, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Happy to be here. How are you?
I am fantastic, and I always get so hungry after this. So hopefully the segment can move a little quickly just so we can all go eat.
Yeah, we'll
correct?
get through it. We'll get through it.
Exactly. And today, you're going to be discussing a place in Hoboken, which gets me excited.
Yes.
Which is the CuBan, which is located at 333 Washington Street. So, similar to last week, I absolutely love Cuban food as
Same.
much as I love seafood. So why don't we start right away? What's your go-to dish there?
For me, I love the happy hour. It's like a must. They have like their own special happy hour, which they have quite often during the weekend, on the weekends. But I have to get their garlic shrimp with like a toasted bread where you can soak it into all that garlic butter and all that goodness. They have an amazing chorizo burger with like potato sticks on top, nice little Cuban spices, like tomato jam. It's amazing.
Chorizo burger.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, sorry. Go ahead. Just keep going.
And then for dinner, I'll have like maybe the churrasco, like some grilled skirt steak with some chimichurri, and then of course the oxtail is like the go-to.
Wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So this is the way they describe themselves.
Yeah.
They consider themselves a bi-level restaurant offering Cuban fare, daily specials, and live music in a stylish setting.
Mm-hmm.
True? And does the restaurant have more than one level?
Yes. So
Gotcha.
prior to them being a restaurant, it was like this lounge called Nine. I don't know if you remember.
I do remember
It
that. That's where the
was always-
333 comes from.
Yes.
Right.
It was always like really loud. So when they converted into a restaurant, I guess they made some of the VIP area like upstairs for larger parties. So if you're celebrating a birthday, it's great to like make a reservation. You have a whole like section, all to yourself. And then also like on the weekends and on Thursday nights, they have live music. You can see them. Their doors kind of open up where they have the outdoor seating. And it's just like really fun, nice environment. You can go there, and just kind of wind down.
But it is casual, right?
Yeah.
Because I walk by and for some reason it looks very formalish to me. And
Not at all.
Not at all.
all.
Right? Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. So I have to be honest. I was reading some other food sites, and I know, how could I? I always start out with mygoodies.com, and then I do read the other ones. And on one site, it said something very, very interesting. It said that the restaurant has a sexy Havana night feel. The atmosphere is insane. The main room is dim and sexy. So, if I walk in there with my mother or my 85-year-old grandmother, am I going to feel a little uncomfortable bringing them in there?
Honestly, I think it's a perfect restaurant to bring someone like on a first date, or if you're trying to like impress them. You can bring like your mom if you really want to, if you want to enjoy some Cuban food. But I don't know if I would like have that type of atmosphere to bring someone like that there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's just interesting. When I noticed that, I was like, my goodness, I know they're trying to appeal to the dating crowd.
I mean, it is pretty dim. The seating is almost like it's like pairs, not very like large, like not very like big tables for seating, unless you have a big party upstairs.
Right,
Yeah.
in that second level, that
Right.
bi-level that they were talking
Right,
about.
right,
So
right.
you went over some of the things on the menu, but
Yeah.
why don't we go into a little more detail, because I'm
Yeah.
always more excited about it. So,
course.
so they have some apps. Obviously, we have your empanadas de pollo, you have your croquetas and things like that. Anything that sticks out at you besides the empanadas? I know you mentioned the garlic shrimp and things like that.
Yes, so
In
they
terms of their apps menu, sorry. We're going to break it down.
Yeah, they have like really good like guacamole with like crab meat. They have like
Interesting.
plantain chips in there that are nice and fresh and crisp. So if you're looking for like finger foods and you're also like looking for something to drink at the same time, honestly, I would order like those things. Those are like the go-tos. There's also a really like nice chicken thigh. So if you like dark meat, in a nice warm steam bun with like some aioli, some lettuce. Really interesting dish because steam buns are usually Asian, but they kind of fuse it together. But the combination is just like mouth-watering and delicious.
But they say also when you say chicken thighs and dark meat, they say that's always the more flavorful meat.
Of course, of course,
of course. That's just simple. And now, another thing that I noticed, and it looked very, very fancy on their website, was their salads. Have you ever indulged in any of their salads?
I'm not a big salad person. Honestly, I go straight for the meat. Like I
Ah,
go straight for
that's
like,
cool,
you know, what I want to, you know, go for. I'm not going to like a restaurant for a salad. I'm going there for like the must-have dishes.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, man, that's totally fine with me. And then we spoke a little bit about some main courses, but of course they have the ropa vieja, they have their pork dishes and some fish dishes.
Yeah.
Any of those fishes that stick out for you?
The paella. If you're looking to like, you know, drop a nice pretty penny on some good paella, like you can have shrimp, the rice, the mussels, the scallops, all of the seasoning, and then pair it with a nice glass or pitcher of sangria, and you're good to go.
Well, man, I tell you. So it kind of, paella is more of a Spanish food, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, so it does have a little Spanish flair.
Some
then.
influence, yeah.
Some influence, as always. Now, you spoke a little bit about their menus. I think you spoke about their happy hour menu, correct?
Yeah.
One of the things that I've noticed while researching it is they certainly have a lot of different type of menus. They have their bar menu. They have a brunch menu, which of course has a lot of eggs. Have you ever tested any other menu in there and any dishes that stuck out?
Honestly, I've only been there for dinner and happy hour because those are like the go-to times where you get the best deals. For happy hour, it's only at the bar, but it's pretty much like half off any of their bar menu items, and you can still have their dinner items there, but I haven't had their brunch just yet. I will soon.
And that's what I've noticed actually. In many of their different menus, they have almost like the same dishes.
Yeah.
I mean, it was one of those dishes where I think it was a brunch menu where they just added eggs to it.
Right.
You know, and I'm like, look, whatever works. I mean,
whatever
people
hangover
like.
food people want to throw in there, perfect.
That's what brunch is all about. I mean, people just sit there and then have Bloody Mary sometimes.
Exactly.
Which, for a hangover, I guess it works.
It does work.
Exactly. So let's talk about their hours a little.
Yeah.
So they're open Monday through Wednesday, 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. Then they're now open for lunch on Thursday and Friday from 11:30 to 3. They close for an hour and reopen from 4 to 11. And Saturday and Sunday is 11 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Yeah.
So the hours are kind of all over the place. I'm sure they're trying to get their lunch crowd going. People normally, I work in a corporate environment, we normally go out to lunch later in the week where it gets a little quieter and things like that. Best time to go in there, I always ask.
Honestly, I think it's like on a Thursday night where they have the live music playing. And there's not that many people, at least now, well, now that football season's in Hoboken, you might have a difficult time parking, but you always have to take that into consideration. But it is very close to the train, so I think Thursday and maybe, you know, Saturday is probably like the best times to go there and enjoy it.
And as you know from our politics segment last week, all about parking. We know the troubles that are.
That's probably one of the only reasons why I like don't go to Hoboken often to go eat somewhere is because
you hear that?
I can't find any parking. I'm there hangry looking for
parking. You hear that, administration? Right here. Anyway, really quickly, because we're running out of time. So, other Cuban restaurants. Now, people think Cuban in Hoboken, they think La Isla. There's one block from where I live. There's one, the original one downtown. But there's also Coco Havana, which is on Newark Street and things like that. Any similarities, do you think?
Honestly, I think it depends on the setting because they're like La Isla's a little bit more intimate. That's where I would go to for lunch, and then this one is where I would take someone or maybe celebrate something special.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, this has made me as hungry as you have in weeks past, right? And I love Cuban food. So that's my Rana, our resident foodie here on the Pulse with Peter B every week of mygoodies.com. And just a reminder, folks, our next show is going live on Saturday, November the 3rd at 11 a.m. Make sure you tune in for that at the link below. And don't forget to like our Facebook page. Again, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you live next Saturday.